This might be the most important thing for any business involved in government contracting to understand. And most people aren't talking about this because it's overshadowed by other headlines, war, crisis, scandal. But in the midst of all of this, the White House just released the proposed budget for FY27. That's fiscal year 27. This is the largest request in U.S. history. And depending on how you calculate it, it's roughly a 40% increase over defense spending from last year. Now, when you isolate the actual Pentagon budget, I think that number is closer to 28% of an increase, but that's still extremely significant. So the question for you, meaning you in government contracting, whether you have a small business or you're a consultant or you're an account executive / business developer, the question for you is, where is this actual spending increase going? What are they going to be buying? How can it affect your business? A lot of people hear defense budget increase, and the talk is around taxpayer spending and assuming a lot of that funding is just going to go to the traditional defense primes, the Boeings, Lockheeds, Northrop Grumman's. But there's been a big shift in the types of companies that are selling to the U.S. government. We have the advent of the Palantirs and the Andurils. We have SpaceX, and we have other non-traditional companies, non-defense primes that are rising up and capturing some of that money. And if you watch this channel, you know how much spending goes to small businesses. SBA sets a 23% goal roughly for most agencies, and especially in the military, a lot of times they exceed that goal. So we need to know where this spending is going. By the way, the president just proposed a $1.5 trillion budget just for the Department of War. It's no secret the United States spends more on defense spending than multiple countries, including our adversaries, combined. And that's without this increase. Question is, where's that money actually going? And if you're in government contracting as a business, as a consultant, as an account executive, how can you contribute to the U.S. military mission by satisfying some of those requirements, winning contracts for yourself? That's what we're going to talk about in this video. Now, before I lay out each of the spending areas and how that's going to affect small business and where some of the opportunity is going to be, I just want to be clear, this is a proposal. So the president's budget has to be approved by Congress, and we know how that goes. Sometimes it changes, it usually does, and it often results in delayed approvals, sometimes government shutdowns. But typically speaking, year over year, we spend more and more on the military, and with this huge requested increase in military spending, I am expecting some large impacts to what we're buying. And we're already buying faster, and we're buying different things. So let's see how it could affect you. So this massive increase in defense spending, if you actually look at the Pentagon budget, it's probably closer to 28%. There's a difference between discretionary spending and total spending here. But what the budget is actually targeting is the industrial base in large part. What do I mean by that? Well, let's start with shipbuilding. We know that the United States ship manufacturing lags behind other countries. The U.S. wants to scale our shipbuilding capacity, as well as some other areas in the manufacturing base. And with shipbuilding in particular, we have exact numbers. The president's budget proposes a $65.8 billion spend for shipbuilding, and specifically they're looking at submarines, amphibious ships, logistics vessels. It's this golden fleet concept. And I want to make sure that I'm speaking to the small businesses out there as well. I know a lot of people can see this type of spending and think, oh, this is just for big companies. It's not for me. But I want to make sure you understand there are so many subcategories to something like this, from engineering services, the labor that's involved in building these ships. There is software and logistics services, architectural support. There's so many things. By the way, resellers actually get involved quite a bit with things like shipbuilding. There's electronics and navigation systems. There's quite a bit, even with space and satellites. There's a lot that goes into this. And by the way, the big companies that do usually prime contracts like this, they have their own small business offices, which a lot of people don't target. Remember, the U.S. government has a mandatory small business plan for large contracts. And because of that, these large primes end up having their own small business offices so they can locate and target the small businesses they want to work with. Look at some of our other videos where we talk specifically about how to work as a subcontractor to a prime. But just going on with the defense industrial base and how the president's budget wants to expand it. And keep in mind, even without any increase, we still spend more than any other country and tons of other countries combined. So the spend is real. We've never seen anything like this. Another area the president wants to spend more money in is missile defense, and which really means homeland defense. Probably heard of the Golden Dome and some other keywords floated out there about how you defend not only this country, but our partner nations with missile systems. And in the advent of drone technology and what we're seeing in some of the wars overseas is becoming more necessary. And by the way, the need for innovation is also extremely necessary. Look up a company like Anduril, who Palmer Luckey started. They do a lot of anti-drone technology, meaning how do we shoot down drones that are attacking us. So we've been working on this, but it's only going to expand. Let's talk about some of the things that could be involved with missile defense, just to get you thinking about the different components. You have space-based sensors, you have ground-based sensors, you have interceptors, you have layered defense systems, and those defense systems need to communicate with each other. So you may be involved with communication or electronic warfare. Any company involved with sensors, radar, space systems, aviation systems, navigation systems, and it goes a lot further than that. This budget is proposing a historic increase in AI spending. And I know I was just talking with a former contracting officer from the US military, and who's very keyed into everything that's going on. And the amount of investment in AI, not just for weapon systems, but across the board, across agencies, not just in the military, it's just increasing. And this is kind of the golden age of, if you're an AI company, how to get in with the US federal government. There's lots of ways to do that, especially with innovation or innovative AI technologies, right? We know of the SBIR program, which we've done tons of videos on. Other Transaction Authority, which is a very fast way that the US federal government can buy innovative systems. By the way, you can learn all of this in the GovClose professional development program. You can go to govclose.com, schedule a meeting with our team. You can look at our syllabus. We teach the art of selling to the US federal government and the 3 revenue streams you can earn from that, meaning winning contracts for your business. You can start a consulting business that helps companies sell to the government or do a variety of things with government contracting. The third revenue path is account executive. A lot of people work for companies, and these are high-paying salary jobs, usually with a commission. Either of those areas on their own can be amazing, but you start combining them, and now you're creating true wealth for you and your family and contributing to this country in a positive way, which is really what we're after here. Some of this AI spending, they're looking at AI infrastructure, Gen AI platforms. They're looking at broad adoption of AI across operations, meaning inter-service operations, Air Force, Army, Marines, Navy. So they all have to communicate with each other. How can AI help us to do that? How can AI help us get the right information to the warfighter faster, to the decision maker? That's what AI is good at, and AI is still new. There's a lot to be done here. This is a top tier priority. How it applies to data systems, decision support systems, autonomy software, you name it. You could probably figure out an AI angle on it. That brings us to the next area of spending. Unmanned systems. Guys, look at what's going on in the world today. Are you kidding me? Like, the way we are fighting wars is changing. Even though we still have the traditional big military and defense systems, we are seeing drones playing a massive role in the war in Ukraine in particular, right? But we can also see that in the Middle East. In drone technology is typically inexpensive compared to how much we spend on, say, the F-35. An order of magnitude cheaper than what it costs to build one of these massive weapon systems. And just the world's getting better and better at using the drone technology. So we talked about anti-drone technology that the government's buying, but we're also making huge investments in drone technology. And that's not just building drones, controlling drones, the navigation systems with drones. There's small drones, large drones, there's ground-based, there's naval drones. This covers a lot of different areas. So think about all of the different aspects involved with this, to include electronic warfare and low-cost scalable manufacturing. The president's budget also indicates massive spending in air dominance and for next-gen fighters. And now we're talking about the F-47, which is a 6th-generation fighter. And we're talking about rapid development in order to build these type of systems. We're looking at a target first flight of 2028, which means, yes, aerospace primes are going to be involved with this. But again, as I mentioned, you can target their small business offices because there's going to be small business suppliers that are working with the primes on these type of systems, right? So there are a lot of subsystems involved with aircraft, and there have been several moves from the U.S. military to ensure that the big primes are not locking down these systems, right? And they're all high paying because of how much the government spends, in particular military spending. Because frankly, as a guy that was putting companies on contract, especially in the areas of technology, especially for aerospace, it was very clear to me and everyone on my side of the table, the government side, how important small business tech startups were, because they had the cutting edge technology that we needed in these aircraft. And we also recognize immediate need to be able to integrate these technologies rapidly, not to have to wait 5 to 10 years to get our hands on it. So that's going to be a huge opportunity. Space domain, missile defense, launch infrastructure, making massive investments in nuclear modernization. I've done entire episodes on Department of Energy spending, and they're going to continue to increase that. It's very important. It's a long cycle. These are high dollar programs, but again, increased spending there. And don't worry if you're losing track of the different areas we want to spend money in. I will recap at the end of this video. If you want to hear way more about this, you can check out the GovClose program. We do weekly coaching calls. Once you are onboarded into the program, we put a plan together specifically for you, meaning me and you will put your plan together, whether that's increasing sales for your business, starting a consulting business, getting that job, and then weekly coaching calls with our entire community. And our community is just under 400 people at this point. And we're talking about people that work for defense primes, people that are in or have worked in government agencies, former contracting officers, special forces, lawyers, accountants. If you name the specialty, they're in the program. We can always figure out who you need to talk to get the best advice for what we're trying to accomplish here. It's really great. I encourage you to check out. In addition to nuclear modernization, warfighter health and readiness, this is a huge, huge area of spend. Making sure that our veterans, and I'm a veteran, I'm a service-disabled veteran, making sure that they get the health and care that they need, both in the military and then after. I think if I had to recommend a shift of mindset for you, it would be from legacy sustainment to next-gen capability, from the lumbering acquisitions process to faster acquisitions, next-gen capability, which means next-gen technology. How can we do things different, faster, better? Now, are all of the changes that the government is proposing, say for instance, how we're acquiring, are all of those going to all of a sudden magically make the government acquisitions process easy and instantaneous? No, it's not. It's just we have over 200 years of policy and law that they have to go through. And right now they're doing the FAR overhaul. We'll see how that turns out. They've made some progress and there are a lot of interesting initiatives, but it is still going to take a lot to put those into effect permanently. But some things are certainly increasing, like the use of other transaction authority to buy faster, especially for the U.S. military. We can see that there's going to be cuts in legacy systems and funding for new technology. And this is where we want to be looking if you're a small business looking to engage in these areas. I'm looking at the SBIR websites, sbir.gov. I'm looking at OTA consortium websites. We're looking for sources sought on sam.gov, which forecast what the government's going to buy. You can look at acquisitions forecasts for specific agencies, which often, by the way, give you the exact details of the contracting shops you need to be working with. If you've been focusing on maintenance of old systems, you may want to start thinking about the new systems that are going to be available and how you can position yourself to work on those systems. There's a big focus on industrial base expansion, and I personally am also thinking about how can I potentially participate in this. They're looking for new businesses to enter the manufacturing process, the defense industrial base in particular, but we have a big focus on manufacturing in this country. I think it's going to be a huge opportunity for some of you watching this video. We have to pay attention to the politics, not to take sides, but at least to know what we can expect in government contracting. And there have been some changes made already. We know that warfighting is the focus of the military right now and of the executive branch. We know that they are not focused on DEI programs, and we know that things like climate programs are also not going to be funded at the same levels or have the same focus as the military programs we were just talking about. There was just a new executive order that came out on equity-based contracting and subcontracting. So if using a set-aside or certification in the past was a major method of you winning government contracts, you really need to think of a better approach here moving forward. I don't think those things are going to go away entirely. But, I've said this 1,000 times. I never awarded a contract to a company because they had a certification or a set-aside. It was always Can they solve the problem that, in my case, was the Air Force, that the Air Force has? Is this the best capability? Is it the best service or technology? So have an amazing solution and understand how the government buys that type of thing. And you're going to be in a much better position to capitalize on this in the future. All right, so I told you I would recap at the end of this where I think you should be focused. And based on the president's budget, I have this broken down into tiers. So tier 1, AI and data decision systems, drones, counter-drone technologies, missile defense, sensors, munition production, shipbuilding. Then we get into tier 2, space systems, industrial base manufacturing. Tier 3, health tech, aerospace subsystems. Is the president's budget going to change by the time it gets approved by Congress? Without a doubt. But again, this is an indicator, and there is a tremendous amount of spending now. They're spending fast for the government. It still takes a disciplined process over time to sell to the government, but this does turn small businesses into big companies over time if you play the game right. A lot of businesses use government contracts and the funding associated with them when they want to sell their business, as it can increase the value of your company. For my consultants out there, and I'm one of them, this is a tremendous opportunity for us because there's so much funding there and there are so few people that understand how to go get it. So keep watching the videos, learn the steps and the art of selling to the government. And if you want help, if you want to join our program, again, govclose.com. Would love to see you there. If you have any ideas for future videos, just drop a comment in, if you're watching this on YouTube, next to the YouTube video. If you're seeing this on LinkedIn or another platform, drop a comment or DM me directly. This is where we get a lot of ideas for our future videos. I think bottom line, there's a tremendous opportunity here for small businesses, for consultants, for account executives, business developers, and of course, large businesses. So there's a lot of opportunity. Understand what the government's after, and I'll see you in the next video.